Hello and welcome to your Rune Reading. I'm Daniel Erulian, your local Tantrik Heathen and Rune Yogi. This isn't pre-planned. I'm just going to shuffle these 24 runes of the Elder Futhark, and I'm going to draw out 3 sets of 3 runes. So while I shuffle, all I need you to do is just take a couple of deep breaths and think of a number between 1 and 3. So Rune Set 1, Rune Set 2, or Rune Set 3. Maybe bring your awareness down into this point just below the sternum. This is where I usually feel intuitive ideas come in. You might be very different. Just take a breath in through the nostrils and out through the nostrils, expanding your belly, softening your shoulders. And as I lay out the 3 sets of 3, just see what number comes to you. And if it hasn't come yet, you have 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. You're choosing your number. Rune 1, 2, or 3. I'm going to start with Rune Set 2 today. I'm going to go in a not usual order. So if you chose Rune Set number 2, we have Tiwaz, Raido, and Manas. So Tiwaz is asking us to understand what is the pillar that's holding up everything. What is the thing that started the thing? I know that sounds very vague, but imagine you're setting up a tent or setting up something that you would like to build. You can see the shape of Tiwaz, kind of like this pillar, creating a space for something, right? So if you're setting up a tent or you're setting up a marquee or something, what is the center pole? Why are you doing this? What is on the banner for this? Yeah. And then what is the journey that thing is wanting to take you or take other people on? So I'll circle back to these 2 runes because Manas is very connected with the whole human experience, right? So it's telling me 2 different things. So if you're on your own, everything crosses over. But if you are currently undertaking some sort of project that involves sharing something with the world, what I would say is really start to focus on your particular message and the symbolic message behind what you're doing. Because, every time we get really passionate about something, it can be very difficult to take that idea from our body and to explain it to someone else. But we really need some sort of banner to stand behind. Every kind of idea, every kind of brand, every kind of really passionate project has some sort of symbolic banner to stand behind. So how would you explain it in a minute to a child of what you're doing? And understanding where that is hoping to take people and what is the journey around it and what is the ritualized process around that. Because we are really trying to, in this project or in this endeavor, really trying to spark something in humanity that integrates both a logical side, the rational side, but also this kind of intuitive, creative, imaginary side of us. So Tiwaz is very rational. It's organized, creating the space so things can happen, so we can provide realms for intuition. And that's what Raido was about as well, creating a structure in order for us to ride, so we have room to be creative, right? A lot of us think, especially creative types, don't like structure because it can limit our creativity. But what we're trying to do is create some sort of structure, create some sort of routine, create some sort of pillar to dance around. So at least we have the space to be creative. It's not this chaotic all over the place space. It's an ordered space that at least we've got a pillar to dance around, kind of thing. And Manas is reminding us, if you look at the shape of Manas, the connection between the 2 brains, the left brain creative, rational, left brain logical, rational side of us that pieces things together in a rational way. But then that kind of in the moment, intuitive, creative, imaginary side, and integrating those 2 together to represent this whole full spectrum of humanness. So to summarize, I know it might be a little bit all over the place, but what is the pillar and what is the symbolic representation of what you're doing at the moment? This could all just be for yourself. It might not necessarily be for a group or something you're creating. This might just be for your own self. Like what draws you in when it comes to values or it comes to symbolic representation and inspiration and what you want to be a part of. Not so much the overall unknowing inspiration, but really trying to break it down. Like, I know it can be uncomfortable for some, but really trying to break down rationally what inspires you and what moves you, because that rhythm that's going to be created through that process, you can then get back into your creative flow and integrate the two sides. So yeah, it's just asking you to find that pillar, to dance around it, to create rhythm and flow, and create that space so you can integrate the logical and the creative side. Hopefully that made sense. I'm going to go with number 3 next. So this is Rune Set number 3. Cool. So we have Elhaz as the first, we have Dargaz as the second, and we have Kanaz as the third. So Elhaz says there's some sort of communication or connection that is being done at the moment. So maybe you've lost a bit of a connection with something or with someone, and it's asking you to explore that connection. Yeah. And Dargaz is really exploring all aspects of that connection. So Dargaz is really only understood by experiencing the extremes. And Kanaz can be this creative fire, but it can also be this like pain, this saw, this sharp object, this craftiness, yeah? So what this is saying for me is this looks like a bit of an uncomfortable process. So I'm not saying it's a bad process, but you could be going through a bit of going through the ringer, so to speak, at the moment. So Elhaz really comes in when it's like forcing you to be awake and be aware of something that's going on, because it's asking you to reconnect with it. So something is prompting your awareness that you have maybe lost connection with something, or maybe some sort of new connection is forming here. But in order to do that, you may need to go both ways. I know this is confusing. So if you're trying to just decide something at the moment, do both of them. Yeah, probably not what you wanted to hear. But through exploring both, you're going to find the middle ground, or you're going to find the third path. Yeah. So it's maybe saying, I know this is like paradoxical and, Dargaz is a paradox, or it doesn't make sense. If you're trying to decide what to do both, but don't do either. Okay. So I'll explain that in a second, because Kanaz is really helping us to understand that every wildfire comes from a spark, right? And fire usually ignites from two seemingly opposite things, creating that third. Yeah. So what I'm trying to say here is that something is prompting you to connect. There is going to be an uncomfortable process where you might have to dive into both uncomfortable extremes. But that spark that's going to come out through those opposites of fire and ice is actually going to create something new for you, create something tangible, and it's going to give you a new understanding of where you want to move forward with to be able to see where you're going. So, yeah, like I know discomfort is not fun. Discomfort is uncomfortable. It's an obvious thing that we want to be in that temperate, comfortable middle. But nothing really is forged in that temperate middle, right? Steel, for example, swords have to be done to extreme heat, and then they have to be put through the cold in order to create themselves stronger, to temper themselves. So if you're going through a difficult situation at the moment and experiencing all the extremes of life, it is so you can understand the full spectrum of this experience, of some aspect of life. So then you have the skill to maybe share it with others, maybe to move forward in your next iteration, but it has actually like been it's designed by your figure or designed by you, that higher self of yours. Something has called it in. Maybe there was stagnancy and you have called it in, or some aspect of you or the divine has called it in. It's going to be uncomfortable. It might currently be uncomfortable, but just lean into both the extremes, and there's realization and skill and something fiery, some sort of new fire that's going to come out of it. So stick with it. It'll be worth it in the end. And if you're trying to decide this way or that way, lean into both as much as you can. Yeah? Hopefully that's helped. So that was rune set number 3. So the last one is rune set number 1. So I'm just going to flip these back over so it doesn't confuse people. Cool. Rune set number 1. We have Uruz, Gebo, and Berkano. So Uruz is this vitality. It is this perseverance and strength. And so if you've watched the third one, we were talking about this sticking with something. But really, this one is all about what is the drive behind what you're doing? Where do you get your strength? How can you maintain your energy and your strength? And understanding the balance of give and take. And Berkano is going to lead to this like fertility. So we often think of fertility as directly related to something around pregnancy. That might be, Berkano is like the birch goddess, is kind of related to Frigga, which is like the mother goddess, and this really nurturing, nourishing presence. So basically what it's leading you to is initially there might be a bit of like having to push through something. So at the moment, the Uruz rune is kind of reminding you how to maintain your energy. Gabo is reminding you what the balance of give and take is in this situation, and leading to an eventual like fertile growth to enable you to nourish yourself long term and to go through this whole cycle in new ways, in more nourishing ways. So it's interesting, like it kind of leads to me, like this whole reading kind of leads me to something around the idea of managing your energy in order to put it towards something that you're trying to nurture. So Uruz at the moment might be asking you for extra strength, extra tenacity, maybe an extra bit of stubbornness and perseverance to make it through, and really asking you to, yes, discipline yourself, but also letting go of what isn't serving you in this situation. What is maybe too much that you're putting too much energy towards that is not yielding something back to you? Because if you're giving too much energy and not giving enough back, you're never going to get to this Berkano. You're never going to be able to feed or nurture what is growing, right? So even if it was, say a literal pregnancy, you've got to nurture that growth. You've got to nurture it with the right kind of foods, the right kind of support for the body. And, if there's not enough offering there's not enough being given to nurture your body, then there's going to be an imbalance and the energy is going to be off. So it's an interesting reading. I don't think I've seen these 3 runes come together before, at least not for a while. So Uruz, vital energy, tenacity, keeping on track, but making sure that your energy is balanced, getting rid, just really like being ruthless even with cutting out that which is not serving you at the moment, because you are making space for some kind of new growth here, new fertile land or growth or opportunity. But it's never going to happen if you're expending too much energy and not getting your energy back to perpetuate that. So it's a very positive reading. There's a great opportunity for fertile ground, but it's never going to grow unless you're balancing your energy, making sure you're getting back equal exchange for what you're giving. Could be the opposite. Maybe you're receiving too much and someone else needs, who knows? All I can tell is what the energetic kind of interplay is between the runes and what's going on. it's up to you to kind of figure out the rest. So hopefully that's helped. Something to do with managing your energy, the give and take, in order to create something long-term growth-wise. So that's it for this rune reading. Thank you for joining me. As per usual, please let me know in the comments which one you chose, if it resonated with you, even later down the track what's played out from these sequences. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. It really helps me to know that people are enjoying this content and encourages me to make more. So thank you for being a part of this rune reading. I'll see you very soon, and Ryan to Runa. Seek towards the mysteries.